Hello everyone, Sean here, and welcome back to... Have you ever wondered just what the f an NFT actually is? If, like most people, you sometimes find yourself fantasizing about hitting that lucky lotto number and disappearing to a private island with daiquiri in hand, then the NFT market may just be the place for you. As you guys and gals know, we started this channel with the goal of helping our growing community keep their financial and professional performance, in the black. But with each passing day, it is becoming more and more difficult to distinguish legitimate investment opportunities in blockchain-based projects from rug pull schemes that seek only to enrich their founders while driving their loyal investor base straight into the red. Now, according to Chainalysis, investors in NFT collections and various crypto tokens lost over $2 billion to scams and fraudulent projects on the blockchain in just the year 2021 alone. I mean, how on earth did we possibly get here? With over 2 decades of internet experience under our collective belts, how are we still falling for these same schemes coming from the same boiler rooms full of the same Nigerian princes?
Why are you running? Why are you?
To us, the answer is actually pretty self-evident. People just don't understand NFTs nearly as well as they think they do. And it's clear that overexcited participants of the NFT markets in some cases are getting badly burned by what they know that just ain't so. But with that said, let us now dive into the first episode of our NFT miniseries, where we discuss just exactly what NFTs are, what NFTs are not, and how to plan your journey into the NFT marketplace without being taken for a ride by one of its many grifters and drifters, who we'll be introducing in episode 2. As for episode 3, well, we're gonna keep that a surprise for now. So without further ado, down that old rabbit hole we go.
Such ingratitude after all the times I've saved your life.
So, what exactly is an NFT?
Now to the latest trend that's sweeping the internet,
called NFT.
They're now selling for huge bucks.
$69 million.
NFTs, or non-fungible tokens, are in a nutshell a very specific category of cryptocurrencies that have swept through the markets like a global pandemic, no pun intended. But what are NFTs really?
90% of the time, I have no idea what the fuck I'm talking about.
It seems that the more we pose the question, the wider and deeper the pool of differing answers becomes. An NFT is an ownership claim on digital art. No, it's an alternative investment asset. No, wait a minute, NFTs are actually memberships and access cards to exclusive online communities.
It's a bird!
It's a plane!
It's Superman! Yes, it's Superman!
The truth, ladies and gentlemen, is that while none of these are 100% wrong, they're not exactly 100% right either. To find the true answer, we need to pull it from the horse's mouth itself. Ethereum, the blockchain on which most NFTs are built and maintained, states the following on its official website. NFTs are tokens that we can use to represent ownership of unique items. They let us tokenize things like art, collectibles, even real estate. They can only have one official owner at a time, and they're secured by the Ethereum blockchain. No one can modify the record of ownership or copy-paste a new NFT into existence. It seems that NFTs, like the title to your car or deed to your home, represents unequivocal ownership of a particular item, be it a digital file, a real-world asset, or whatever else you might decide to put on the blockchain. Yes, believe it or not, at the end of the day, it's night. And at least in theory, it really is that simple. But in the real world, the nuances of NFT ownership are far more complicated. So let us collect our bearings by taking a look at a real-world scenario. So let us say that you finally had it up to here with the NFT markets and all their animal-based assets. So instead, you say,
To hell with it.
and put your capital into some good old-fashioned real estate development. First, you go out and you buy yourself a plot of land, then you build a small apartment building on it. When the last brick has been laid and the last wall has been painted, you take a trip down to your real estate lawyer's office where you receive a freshly drawn up property deed, a legal document drafted by a licensed attorney that confirms your ownership of the asset in question. It's critical to understand that a version of this document exists for just about every asset on the planet, including your home, your car, and any stocks or bonds in your retirement portfolio. These documents are so important that an entire sector of finance flourishes around them. The title insurance business, whose sole purpose is to protect the holder of this ownership document from any competing claims made by outside parties. Okay, great. We've now laid down some very valuable context. But hold your horses, partner, and freeze right there, because it almost sounds like there's no difference at all between a property deed that confirms ownership of a home and an NFT that confirms ownership of a Bored Ape image. But let's set this record straight. For all you digital primate collectors out there, where exactly is your $1 million spunky monkey? I mean, you know where your house is. Your deed gives you the address and sometimes even the exact latitude and longitude coordinates. At the end of the day, you do own the actual original image file of that hideous auto-generated monkey, don't you? Well, if you really own it, if you truly have ownership over the digital JPEG of your specific ape in the form of an NFT, which is effectively a deed encrypted onto the blockchain, then that sneaky image file can only be in one place, stored inside the code of your actual NFT. Except you might be surprised to know that isn't actually the case.
An NFT is kind of like a certificate of ownership for virtual assets.
Essentially, when you buy an NFT, you're not buying the horse. The horse is somewhere else. You're buying the racing papers that say, here's where the horse came from, here's who's owned it over all these years, here's this horse's record.
In the same way that a property deed is not the same thing as the physical real estate that it was created to represent, so too is the case for the art associated with your NFTs.
What the buyer gets is essentially a long string of numbers and letters. It's a code that exists on the Ethereum blockchain.
It relies on blockchain technology, sometimes described as a kind of digital record keeping. It's a secure way to track when digital items change hands online.
Now, intrepid engineers that have meticulously picked apart the raw code of non-fungible tokens have come to uncover the fact that the various digital artworks and media represented by NFTs do not actually reside on the blockchain, but on a traditional centralized server located somewhere in one of the many corners of the earth. This is probably the most widespread and, quite frankly, the most dangerous misconception that surrounds the NFT marketplace today. That's because the vast majority of non-fungible token holders, at least those that don't hail from software engineering backgrounds, mistakenly believe that if you purchase a piece of media in the form of an NFT, you're purchasing the original file of that media, be it a JPEG, an audio file, or any other format. But this is not the case. I repeat, when you buy NFT art, you are not buying the actual art itself. What you are buying is an impermeable digital record, which confirms that you, John Doe, or more accurately, your cryptocurrency wallet address, is in fact the true owner of whatever asset, artwork, or piece of digital media that has been described inside the NFT code. So then, where exactly is that Bored Ape that you spent half your life savings on a few weeks ago? Well, sorry to break it to you, probably on someone's private server in the back room of some Bitcoin farm on a barge floating somewhere off the coast of Malaysia, or, you know, literally anywhere else. For all you know, there could be a million other original copies of your specific ape, each one identical to yours, pixel for pixel, residing on the personal computers of the mostly anonymous creators. But now it's time to discuss the core most element of NFTs that supposedly makes them truly unique from cryptocurrencies. Their fungibility, or yeah, you know, the lack thereof. So what exactly is fungibility exactly? Well, your old economics professor might give you an explanation something like this. It should make absolutely no difference to a person whether they have a single $100 bill in their pocket versus two $50 bills, 5 $20 bills, or 10 tens. It's all 100% the same thing. In other words, fungibility is when two different items are so similar in nature that substituting one in exchange for the other makes absolutely zero difference from an economic utility standpoint. John Harris, one of the filmmaker extraordinaires of YouTube, illustrates the idea of fungibility quite well with his mountain of identical ski jackets.
Let's say you want to buy an orange jacket.
From a practical standpoint, Johnny's definition of fungibility is probably the most useful.
Let's just use the word replaceable. Non-fungible means non-replaceable. You can't replace it. There's only one of them. It's unique.
So if one of his 10,000 identical orange jackets is lost, misplaced, or stolen by an unruly digital gorilla, it can be considered fungible as he can simply run down to the nearest Uniqlo store and replace it with a roughly identical product. However, when it comes to his favorite orange jacket, you know, the one with the fraying seams and all those sentimental fragrances, that jacket is not replaceable for a number of different reasons. Maybe that specific coat is simply no longer being manufactured, or maybe he's become too attached to that coffee stain that kind of looks like Jesus Christ on the inside layer. Whatever the reason may be, an item ceases to be fungible the moment that it becomes unique, one of a kind, and irreplaceable to the user. So knowing this, we might pose the question, how can two pictures of two identical looking monkeys be considered non-fungible if both of the identical images that reside on identical files with identical metadata are ultimately translated by your computer into two identical sequences of zeros and ones? Then what exactly makes the Bored Apes or any other NFT collection out there non-fungible? Well, really nothing at all. If you look at the tokenization of physical or financial assets, such as creating NFTs that represent revenue generating real estate, it becomes pretty clear pretty quickly that you just can't Control-C, Control-V an office building or a hotel to create an identical duplicate. But when it comes to cyberspace, there isn't anything preventing you from going to the Bored Ape OpenSea page, screen grabbing each image, and minting your own NFT collection, calling it, I don't know, the Bored Ape clones. What really grants each item in the original collection the status of non-fungible is the fact that each image effectively has a deed of ownership document associated with it in the form of an NFT. I mean, after all, if Leonardo created 1,000 identical copies of the Mona Lisa, all painted by his own hand, then each one of the 1,000 paintings is still technically an original, but the non-fungibility of each piece would now rightfully be called into question, unless one of them came with a notarized document signed by Da Vinci himself that stated this, yes, this one right here, this is the original one, and the rest belongs to an enterprising hustler on Canal Street. So while your cowboy hat wearing, joint smoking, monkey JPEG may come with a deed of ownership in the form of an NFT because the image itself resides somewhere outside of the blockchain, there's no telling whether the ape is truly one of a kind, or just one out of a million other unreleased originals. So that's the bow tie on our episode for today. We hope that once again you found our babble informative and entertaining. So make sure to hit that subscribe button and bell icon below to be notified when the second episode of our NFT series airs, where we discuss the ugly side of the NFT market and how you can avoid its various traps.